Ah, that's better. Yeah, loving it. Oh yeah, that'll brighten you little guys up. Wouldn't it be nice if it were this easy to add touches of color to your home or garden? Hi, I'm Alan Smith. No doubt, color is one of the most exciting elements of design, in that color creates moods. They invoke certain ideas and perceptions. When used deliberately, they can really change a space's atmosphere. And it doesn't always have to be dramatic. Little subtle touches of color can add something extra to any room, creating harmony and balance without overdoing it. So I thought we would embark on our journey into the world of color by exploring white, which actually is the absence of color, ironically, but it does occur frequently in nature. Ah, the sound of water. There's nothing like it to create a sense of tranquility and serenity in a garden. Another thing that I think really helps a garden feel serene, calm, is the color palette. For me personally, I like cool colors. So I'm very attuned to the way my friend thinks, who owns this particular garden. Cool colors and a monochromatic color theme add to the tranquility. Just take a look around. This vintage 1916 Spanish Mediterranean home has the feel of sort of vintage Hollywood. In this terrace, you can see it has a balustrade that goes around, which creates a sense of enclosure. The balustrade serves as a backdrop, you can see, for this beautiful display. Now, this bed is defined by the balustrade at the back, and then of course along the front we have a beautiful boxwood border. And at the corner of this boxwood border, there are clipped cones all the way down. Now, what really makes it shine within this frame is this beautiful display of tulips. They're just about to wrap up. And if you look closely, you'll see Dusty Miller, that beautiful gray-leafed annual planted among the tulips. Now let's stay on point with this idea of color harmonies and how it can make a place feel even more serene. So you get these color echoes. There's the Dusty Miller leaf, and look how it matches the floor or the surface of this garden room. As you can see, it's almost a dead match. Continuing with this theme of color echoes, the white tulips are reflected with the lawn furniture. So we come back to the centerpiece of this garden room, this lovely fountain. The plantings around it follow this color theme, largely white with hydrangeas. You can see the alyssum planted at the base, as well as other plants such as lavender, hellebores, and a beautiful pale blue veronica. So what's the lesson we can learn from this garden? Choose a color palette that really sings for you and create a beautiful outdoor space for yourself. Color is one of the elements of design that you first notice when you visit a garden. One of my favorite flowers to work with, for many reasons, is the tulip, a true bulb of many colors. You know, as a designer, I just have a thing for color. I love any form of color. I like really bright, beautiful colors. And I love it when colors are coordinated. And it's no accident that I put on this shirt to talk about these tulips. And what I have here are 3 different varieties of tulips, all planted together. Now, as you may know, tulips will bloom early, mid, and late in a season, and it depends on the variety you choose if they bloom early, mid, or late. What I decided to do here was to make sure that these were all mid-season bloomers because I wanted one big blowout of color. And that's what you get here. You have this gorgeous orange one, and then you have this beautiful pale, almost sort of lemony, sorbet kind of yellow, and then this one that is pure white. And I just think it's a rockin' combination. So in this bed here, collectively, what I have planted are about 500 bulbs. Now I've also color coordinated this bed of tulips with this big urn up here. This urn is about 2 feet deep and it's filled with a great potting soil. In the fall, I fill it with tulip bulbs, and here I just went with one single color, but it's the very same tulip you see here, and you can just see the pink tones in it and the oranges. It's just a gorgeous tulip. This variety is called Minton. And if you'll notice, I actually have some pansies as companion plants blooming with them, and also along the front of the beds of these tulips, we have pansies. These are called antique shades, that's the variety, and overall the colors mix, I think, very well with this tulip combination. Now all of this works in concert with what I have on the front porch. You know, on my front porch I've painted those classic Windsor chairs a screaming orange, and on either side of the front door I've got a pair of urns filled with salmon colored geraniums, asparagus fern, which is so easy to grow, as well as a wonderful plant called a bacopa that blooms white, which matches the trim color around the house. So we have the white, we have the salmon up on the porch that's echoing with these colors on either side that flank the house itself. So as you can see, I'm a color coordination freak. When I think of bold and brilliant colors or outdoor works of art that have a real wow factor, the first name that comes to mind is Dale Chihuly. Known worldwide for his unique large-scale blown glass exhibits, Chihuly has changed the way we think about glass.
Dale Chihuly is an American glass artist who has been working for decades and really perfecting his craft.
Combining the beauty of Chihuly's work with the natural backdrop of the Ozarks made Crystal Bridges the perfect home for a temporary exhibit in 2017.
One of the biggest challenges about putting this exhibition together was transforming this space that was relatively uncared for, and now it's a really accessible 1.1 mile walk that strolls through the Arkansas Ozarks. We bring artists from all over the nation to really be part of the story of American art. And when we're talking about living artists, it's great to be able to connect with them and really collaborate on what they do here. In this space, we will continue to add sculpture as soon as the Chihuly show goes away. So we will be doing that both in a permanent long-term way as well in a temporary way. So we will continue to have temporary exhibitions coming on an annual basis in this space. We are adding Buckminster Fuller's Fly's Eye Dome, and then really trying to show off the architecture of the natural forest, where you see these grand trees that are really framing artworks. And when you're in this space in the middle of summer and spring, it's an intensely green and active space, and these pops of color and experiences with individual artworks will really mesh nicely with the experience in the forest.
The intersection of nature, art, and architecture are core tenets of what we believe in here at Crystal Bridges.
Our team has put their heart and soul into developing this space, being sensitive and respectful for the history of these grounds, but they love the space and we love being able to present it to the public. At Crystal Bridges, we invite and welcome all. And it doesn't matter where you come from, how familiar you are with art or artists, we provide those opportunities for you to interface. So it's an easy step. You walk right in, the museum's collection is free, and then we create different experiences with exhibitions like Dale Chihuly to dive in a little more deeply on individual artists. So we're thrilled to be able to offer access to everything.
I don't know about you, but I love color. Color plays such an important role in how we feel about a space, whether it's outside or inside the home. But let's take the garden for instance. I got a few basic principles that I always follow when using color in the garden. For instance, I divide color into 3 parts. Not anything like the color wheel, just 3 simple color blocks. I go with warm colors, neutral colors, and hot colors. Let me give you an example of the neutrals. Well, green, in my opinion, is a neutral color. Gray is a neutral color. And over here you can see this is a gray-green neutral color as represented here with this Elaeagnus hedge. So neutral colors can make the perfect backdrop for a planting. And you can see here I've followed a certain theme with pinks, with these Rockapulco double impatiens. They're really beautiful, planted in a mass. You see, also the amount of color you use is important. I like to choose a single color family and then paint with a really broad brush. And that's what I've done here with this big drip of impatiens. There are 25 plants here all growing together and blooming en masse. The results, well, they're stunning. Let's take a look in the front. So what I mean by a color family is if you choose a pink, stay with all pinks, all of the cool or warm pinks, decide one or the other. For instance, here I've used purple and hot pink, and it's echoed over on this side of the bed where I have purple ageratum, coleus, blue salvia, and this purple fountain grass. What you get is this echo back and forth. That helps the garden feel more harmonious. You have a consistency that's going on. It's restful to the eye. Now let's talk about foliage versus bloom over here. So take a look at this chartreuse coleus. Pretty remarkable, I think. If you take the idea that foliage can bring bold color, and coleus is a great way to do it, juxtapose bright colored flowers like these royal velvet supertunias, you can get some remarkable combinations. I just love the electric color of the coleus with these deep saturated purple colors as well as light lavender phlox. Now come on here, I want to show you something else. Now this coleus is called Sedona, and you can see that it is very warm with its color. And look at the grass behind it. That's giant purple fountain grass. I think they're a great combination if you want to heat things up. Juxtapose again this really bright lifelime coleus over here. You see, the beauty of having seasons is that you can change out the color from time to time. If you get tired of it, you can rotate it. For instance, in this garden, I rotate the color out in every season. In the spring, I'll have all kinds of tulips, daffodils, hyacinths. This gives a soft pastel look. In the summer, I can bump up the color and make it even bolder. And in the fall, I can use distinctly autumnal colors here. It makes it very interesting in season after season. Would you just look at these gorgeous sunflowers, a real staple of summer, and they're one of the easiest flowers you can grow in your garden. So how about a few tips that'll help you have sunflowers throughout the entire growing season? Number 1, you want to choose the right kind of sunflower. If you want them to hold up long in the vase, you need to choose varieties that are, well, bred for cut flowers. Sunflowers, as their name implies, need a lot of sun. When growing them, you'll want to make sure they're getting at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight per day. The more the better. To grow really big sunflowers, you'll want to sow the seeds directly into the garden rather than starting them in pots. Sunflowers have long tap roots, and peat pots can block off the root growth. Also, remember to give your sunflowers plenty of space to grow. These make big plants. So by choosing the right type of sunflower, meaning those that produce a lot of seed versus maybe something you want as a cut flower like this one, and following a few of these basic tips, you can have sunflowers all season long. So get out there and grow some. Boy, you're beautiful. Did you know that? Take a look at this little pepper. It's called Yes to Yellow. And you can see by this basket that it really does deliver on the yellow, but it delivers on a lot more. These small plants are high yielding, and these little peppers, well, they're sweet and delicious. Let me share a yummy recipe with you. Local store that they carry all kinds of things for the house. And I went in about a month ago and saw these new fresh paintings and asked about the artist, and they told me a little bit about him. I called him and said, I really like your painting. Do you plein air paint? He said, yeah. What do you say, Trey?
Hey, Alan.
Good to see you.
You too.
Ready to sing a little paint?
That's right. Well, I got a call from the gallery I'm in, and Alan was interested in talking to me about painting with him and maybe working together a little bit.
I said, well, sometime you ought to come out and paint. I like to paint too. And so we figured out a time, and here we are. Trey and I went out to do some scouting for some shots, to do some painting. It was really too cold to be doing plein air painting outside. So the idea was to take some photographs and really use those points that we found as inspiration for some pictures, just kind of as a guide. So Trey, what I was thinking about here is that, you know, I like this foreground brush. You can see it's about a 20-foot drop down to the river right there. But you can, you know, we're about to lose light, but it's kind of interesting in here.
It's really nice, and I kind of like the dead kudzu that's over there, and it's really spacious, kind of cool, nice. Kind of reminds me of the lake. I grew up on Lake Ouachita, going up to the lake every weekend, and so it's really peaceful.
So we can do some sketches here, take some pictures. It's awfully cold out to be drawing.
Yeah.
So what do you think of this?
It's really, really nice. Just right now, that band of light, it's just hitting the back.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of leaves a silhouette of the trees here.
Yeah, you can see it really lights up those back hills there. Okay, Trey, I'm gonna grab some pics.
Yeah, go.
Can you see?
My passion is just kind of painting the landscape, but I also do some still lives just to study. So my work is all in oils and really loose kind of a brush work.
We took the photographs and brought them back, chose some compositions that we liked, you know, picked a little bit out of this picture, out of that picture, and kind of put some things together, and then did a value study.
With this study, you can kind of only you don't have to worry about color, you only value and your temperature. So I'm going to use yellow as a warmer color, and violet, which is on the other end of the color wheel, is my cooler one.
You really work on composition, taking a very limited palette, taking a yellow, a warm color, and a very cool color opposite on the color wheel, and combining those, coming up with a neutral, and just playing with that palette. Trey does this every day, so I only get to work in my studio every once in a while, so it was really fun to get out here and paint. I was really rusty and had to kind of knock a lot of the rust off to get going, and he's really good, and He's working with these principles on a daily basis, and so it was helpful for him to communicate some of those basic things to me to help me get started. So we took the value study and then moved to a larger canvas. The value study was just done on a board, and then we took it to a larger plane, which was an actual canvas. And then we both went in different directions. He kind of went with a pink sky with his. Mine was much more sort of golden, sort of end of the day kind of thing. I really liked painting with Trey. He's really easygoing. He's got good ideas. Everything he does is very principle-based. He understands color theory and why things work, and he understands perspective. So he was able to help me with some of those points along the way. So yeah, it was really a lot of fun. As you can see, color plays a role in many purposes when it comes to presentation and affecting our mood. The artist Matisse said that the chief function of color is to serve expression, and I wholeheartedly agree. For me, I think color plays a really important role seasonally. In winter, I want more color around me. One of the great ways to do that is to force bulbs, whether they're daffodils, tulips, hyacinths, or those big, beautiful amaryllis. So whether it's flowers, paint, or fabric that you use on the inside of your home to bring in color, or applying those same things outdoors, the main thing to do is to get creative and use color in a way that makes you happy. Until next time, I'm Alan Smith. Oh yeah, that'll brighten you little guys up. Oh, what about that? Yeah.